We're cheering for the farmers as they trundle down the road. They're out there in their tractors, driving really slow. They're pissed off with the government for grabbing lots of land. No farmers, no food, things are getting out of hand. Yippee-hi-yo, yippee-hi-yay. Spray the parliament with cow poo today. Yippee-hi-yo, yippee-hi-yay. Spray the parliament with cow poo today. The government says cows, farts and burps are causing climate change. They want you to eat bugs while they fly their private planes. The scapegoat in the farmers, it's really so deranged. No farmers, no food, things have gotta change. Yippee-hi-yay, yippee-hi-yo. Spray your parliament with loads and loads of poo. Yippee-hi-yay, yippee-hi-yo. Spray your parliament with loads and loads of poo. The government says cows, farts and burps are killing the planet, so scapegoat in the farmers just ain't the way to go. They're grabbing all the land and they're fleecing all of you. Vegetables grow better when you spread lots of cow poo. Yippee-hi-yay, yippee-hi-yo. Thank you farmers and fuck you net zero. Yippee-hi-yay, yippee-hi-yo. Thank you farmers and fuck you WHO.
Hey everybody, Marcel with Irnieracing on the YouTube channel. That was Nigel the Babarian. Nigel the Babarian. Oh man, it's early. Barbarian. And looking now at a video, an independent farmers group went and confronted Minister of Agriculture Charlie McConalogue in Athlone last night.
Yeah, and that's not the language that listen to. Now it's all of you to sit here and have your little cozy interviews with the media when there's nobody to debate with you. There's nobody to debate with you. You can sit here, you can tell them whatever you want. Look, you can say whatever you want, unless you're able to drag me out. I'm going, no. Huh?
Yeah, you can imagine this farmer is not happy with Charlie. Just as if in Canada we would be seeing Freeland or Trudeau having dinner, and you're going to want to throw them some insights, have a discussion, a quick debate, or a little bit of get some anger on the table about how they're destroying our countries on purpose, and we know what they're doing.
Well, I was here talking to the media. You had your meeting.
You shouldn't sit for this. Yeah, I'm out there taking the whole of the farmers here tonight answering the questions.
No, you didn't answer the questions because we spoke to them on the way out and they said you bluffed as you always do. You don't answer questions. Minister, what? The state that agriculture is in this country.
Yeah, the minister's like, I answered your questions outside. He's like, no, you didn't. You double talk, double speak your way around. Same thing with Freeland. Same thing with everybody who lies. Everyone who's doing a cover-up, that's the only strategy they have is double speak, double talk, never answer any questions. Just when you answer them a question, they give you a speech about something else over and over and over.
We have to stand together. Divided is not an option. Standing together, supporting each other, and standing up against policies that are not fair.
Well, guys, as the new India farmer protest kicks off, it looks like France's protest has come to a temporary halt, or maybe a permanent halt if things hold fast. February 2nd, the French government capitulates to the French farmers' concerns after weeks of long blockages of Paris. It's over. 2 of France's main farmers' unions asked their members to end the protest that was blocking access in and out of the capital of Paris after the government agreed to their demands. The French farmers took no pleasure in harassing their fellow countrymen, but it appears as though their hold on the arteries going in and out of the capital worked, as the French government agreed to many of their demands. Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, just 3 weeks into the job, had failed with his initial attempt to quell the blockade that was starving Parisians of access to fresh fruits and vegetables. His second attempt went much better. The French protest was initiated after farmers said their concerns were being ignored by the government. French farmers were angry over rising input costs, increased taxes, falling income, and European agricultural policies. With regards to its European neighbors, French farmers were upset about its government purchasing too much agricultural product from Ukraine. Understanding that Ukraine is at war with Russia and can use financial aid, French farmers rallied against its government for being too generous in flooding the market with Ukrainian goods, not to mention that they believe much of the Ukrainian products to be substandard to expected French food quality. Worse still, for the French farmers, the Ukrainian products were being sold at a cheaper price than their own. For French farmers, purchasing too many substandard and inexpensive Ukrainian agricultural products has affected their livelihood while lowering the accepted food standard for consumers. And moving ahead, most importantly, France's plan, which follows the UK and EU's plans to reduce pesticide usage, has been put on hold. While pesticide reduction is still being considered, the French government said it wants to implement an easier way for farmers to reduce pesticide usage while maintaining its yield, quantity, and quality. It just doesn't know how to do that yet. And here's a post, February 3rd. The so-called Negro in America can do the same thing here and get change. Breaking. The French farmers are now removing their blockades after the government has given in to their demands. The French farmers have won. This kind of reminds me of the Freedom Convoy. Look at this. Holy shit. Who was going to tell me that French farmers use their tractors to completely surround and blockade Paris in order to get their demands met? On AP News, Paris. French farmers were gradually lifting their roadblocks around Paris and elsewhere in the country on Friday, a day after the French government offered 400 million euros in various measures meant to answer their grievances over low earnings, heavy regulation, and unfair competition from abroad. On major highway around the French capital, protesters took down tents, cleaned up the road, and set fire to straw bales that they were using as barricades. Convoys of tractors were leaving the sites in a peaceful and orderly manner amid a large police deployment meant to ensure the security of the operations. Rousseau said farmers would keep a close eye on whether the government implements its promises by June, and warned that they are ready to protest again as the country gets ready for the Paris Olympics this summer. On Thursday, Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, whose earlier promises to address farmers' issues had failed to quell the French protests, announced a new set of measures. Now, I'm looking up German farmers to see where the situation is on that. And here we have February 3rd. German farmers begin to block television and radio stations that refuse to report on farmers' protests. Hey, what a great idea. Go after the mainstream media, the owned media. And here was 6 days ago. German farmers have had enough of government climate terrorism. Globalists, psychopaths no longer control their chaos they've created. Wow. Now that is a lot. That is a lot of people. Just look at the size of that. Freaking massive. That must have felt so great to be there. Here is 1 day ago. German bystanders offer a message of solidarity to the farmers taking a stand against the government. I come from the future. Everything is super because you all are here today. Hey, what a great message. And German farmers blockade country's biggest airport. February 3rd, farmers in Germany blocked roadways around the country's busiest airport on Saturday as protests over prices and red tape spread across the continent. Several hundred tractors blocked the streets leading to the Frankfurt Frankfurt airport in protest after a fuel subsidy cut was passed by the German parliament on Friday. Farmers in Germany have been engaged in massive protests. Yeah. Well, guys, you know, it's super interesting to compare this to the Freedom Convoy in Canada, which, you know, the mandates got dropped, but the full-on agenda continues, and they froze people's bank accounts and arrested people. And now 2 years later, the Crown is dropping charges here and there. Here is a newsletter from the Democracy Fund. Anti-prayer bylaw charges dismissed against Pastor Derek Remier. So the prosecution, they dropped the charges, guys. He was praying in a public place, and they arrested him saying you can't hold an event. And of course, he has a right to his religious prayer, his personal prayer. It's so ridiculous. I'll read a little bit about it. Calgary. Charges were dismissed against Derek Ramier Monday after he was issued a trespass notice and violation ticket for silently praying in Calgary's municipal complex back in March of 2023. The prosecution alleged that Ramier was holding a religious event without a permit, contrary to bylaw, right? Just bullshit, right? Here's a good quote. Since when do we need to seek permission from a city bureaucrat to pray in public? Asked Honor. How could any government justify that? So what's happening is people are being targeted. It's not about what they're doing. They're just being targeted, those individual people. Just like how I was targeted by Herbs and the city of Kelowna, because they know me, and I'm one of those few that stick out, and, you know, other people see the news because of me. Honor was previously expressed concern that his client was targeted by enforcement because of his identity as a controversial pastor, as opposed to his conduct on the date in question. He has pointed out that there were 4 other people praying with Ramier in the municipal complex, but Ramier alone was singled out for trespassing. It is disturbing to think that the law might be selectively enforced against persons because of who they are or what they believe, says Honor. And another one in the doctor circle, Ontario doctor has allegations of misconduct over his C19er social media posts withdrawn by the CPSO. So, the CPSO, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario, formally withdrew charges against Dr. Jean-Marc Benoit, which alleged that his posts on Twitter X during the C19 were disgraceful, dishonorable, and unprofessional. Yeah, so they're just dropping like their charges like flies, right? Anyways, guys, we'll leave the story right here. So Paris in France, blocking the capital, blocking the streets, exactly what the Freedom Convoy was sort of doing, but at a much more peaceful, you know, they allowed traffic to flow around downtown. The only blockade was the borders, Coutts and Windsor, and those were taken down by police with force. So these guys actually got full success with the blockade, not just, you know, in hindsight that how the government kind of slacks on these things, you know, but it wasn't really a win like this. So this is fantastic, guys. It really shows that a blockade does have an impact here in France. This is Irnieracing, guys. Have a good one.